Hello.
Hello, hello, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, good
Uh,
night to anyone,
yeah, that
depending on
works.
the zones. I think, dude, I got the setup must be pretty dope. I'm kind of like afraid to unplug it and plug it in to make you to have you check the sound, but I think it sounds pretty
Yeah, it sounds fine to
slick.
me. Sounds the
Yeah, yeah.
usual.
The usual, go fuck yourself.
I mean, it doesn't
Like
sound
fuck.
perfect. Like, it doesn't sound like you're
I
right
mean,
in here in the
we'll
room,
see how
but
it sounds afterwards. I mean,
yeah.
if it's I'm pretty sure it's not recording from this.
I don't know, tap it and find out.
So
Yeah, no, it's not.
yeah. No, I think the trick was in the actual cable that I was using, like
Uh,
USB Type C to the whatever jack headphone thingy. So yeah, here we are. As I said
how are
today, I'm not
things?
really. Yeah. Like I'm there, but I'm not. I have to say that you giving me some shit earlier on, kind of like helped me up, wake up a little bit, and
Oh,
get my
good.
shit together. I did. I was very sleepy today. Like I don't know. Like little one got up at six o'clock, and then I was hammered because after the third time she would wake up and I would go to her bed, to comfort her and whatever. I'm like, fuck it. Like I might as well stay here now,
Yeah,
whatever. And it's
I'm a bit like that.
yeah, and I'm getting tangled up like a pretzel because it's a baby bed. It's for small children. So it's
You're just like, hello, I see
yeah,
her
me being
now.
like, I don't know, close to 2 meters high, tall, or like 6 feet four or something like that. It gets a little bit, yeah, not
Yeah.
too cozy. So it's like I just wake up and I just feel like I cannot move my neck anymore. I'm like, ugh, fuck. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, my energy was too low and there's a lot of other stuff that
Yeah.
it's happening. So it's fucking whatever. So
I guess that
yeah,
begs the
anyway.
question then, like, what do we want to jump into first then? Because,
Oh, jump into it. Let's see. Let's see. I didn't have any serious questions.
okay, I didn't have any at all. I
Like,
think that's because I posted it like way too late. Yesterday just got
well,
ahead of
it's
me. Like, what happened?
I I think basically nobody gives a fuck about us anymore. They just
Yeah,
like,
true.
yeah, like there's nothing more to ask. We answered everything. So
Exactly.
yeah, great. There's no need for this podcast anymore. I think we served this our purpose.
Now, there's always some bullshit to talk about. There's always some bullshit.
Yeah, I know that. I think we can. I would like to tackle that the what is it? The Lo-Fi Jesus
Okay,
situation. I find I was texting them earlier today. I think it's something. It's a very good initiative. I don't know who's behind it. I don't even. I don't want to know who's behind it. It's
that's
definitely
exactly what I
like
said.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
no
It's
shade, but I do
definitely
not give a fuck who you are. Like, I
no,
don't
no.
care. I'm not digging. I don't. So
Yeah.
I guess we kind of. So there's this account that's been started on Instagram for those that don't know
Mm.
what we're talking about. I think it's called something
Yeah.
like Lo-Fi Jesus Resurrection. And the first post they
Yes.
did was kind of this. I'd almost say like, but her angry rant against modern lo-fi, how it's going downhill and how Spotify have fucked it up,
Yeah.
and where's
Yeah.
all the old shit, and
Mm.
very much kind of like just an angry person that hates that
Yeah.
lo-fi is. I wouldn't necessarily say become mainstream, but
No.
it's. I guess it's become something that's just like let me see if I can get the post up just so I can read it out.
I mean, a word that we can use is gentrification, even though I'm not entirely sure if we
Yeah.
can use it in this. Yeah,
So
could,
their
yeah,
first post, want to hear some facts? I'm sick of pop music and flagship lo-fi playlists. I'm tired of same artists, same
yes.
labels, in same playlists. 15's adding jazz vibes for you, bro. Cool. All you pussies too scared to raise your voice against Spotify playlist corruption. Let me do it for you. Sick of high quality uber polished ass beats. Every
Yeah,
track sounds the same anyways. Lo-fi lost its soul. So
yeah.
you know, that was the thing that they posted. I spotted a couple of people posting it over on Twitter and on Facebook and things like that, being like, okay, which one of you guys is this? For some reason, for some reason, everyone seems to think it's me.
It's you.
Like, well, okay, not everyone. That's kind of me thinking that, you know, that's me with my head on my own arse. There was some people that was like, oh, maybe it's Lazyboyloops, and I'm like, it's not me. It's definitely not me. Like, I wouldn't type like that. It's very Americanism, the typing, and then people are like, well, that's what someone would say.
Exactly. I was about to say, like, it sounds very, very
So
American
then
English
I
to
was
me,
reading a
yes.
lot of this. I think sometimes I just like wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I've just got on my phone for a bit before I fall back to sleep. So in my kind of 6 a.m. sleepy haze, I decided to post a tweet that was like, oh, this Lo-Fi Jesus account that surfaced, it's definitely not me. I promise it's not me. I've got too much shit to do
I
than to just,
promise.
you know, just talk about lo-fi drama. And then all of the
Yeah,
replies were like, that's what someone would say. And then
exactly.
I think like Broey and Florelente, they came along and was like, no, you told me it was you. So I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
Linear Wave comes along being like, Lazyboyloops is the lo-fi gossip girl. And I'm just like,
There
oh,
we go.
fucking hell.
Yeah.
So I reacted to like one of their stories, and they instantly
Yeah.
like replied to it. And I was like, right, let's get into this. So I mean, I agree with everything, to be honest. It's
Yeah, 100%.
we've been saying for a while, like, it's not the lo-fi hip hop scene that it is today is not what it used to be. And, you know, that's such a granddad thing to say. Oh, it's not, you know, back in my day, people used to sample records and
Blah,
shit
blah,
and
blah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
sure. Yeah, of course.
you know, at the same time, it has kind of lost its, I guess,
Purpose.
like, unique flair.
Yeah.
It isn't. I mean, everyone just is sampling each other. We're all grabbing the same fucking Chet Baker songs and chopping them up, or, you know, Bill Evans, and we've
Yeah.
all heard the same. And then from that, we've kind of now spawned this steady beats like subgenre of an already subgenre, and then there's sleepy beats outside of that, which is just essentially just down tempo ambient. I mean, let's just name it what it is. It's not really lo-fi. It's just you know, some rain sounds with a really gentle beat and some nice sounding piano or Rhodes or whatever the fuck. So, you know, I kind of get it. It has lost that kind of old school hip hop vibe that it has. It's not as edgy, I guess, as it used to be. But that, you know, we can get away with ourselves and say that's the same with every genre. But yeah, this person, they seem to just be they're not a producer from what I can tell. I've been
Okay.
speaking to them. They very much seem like someone that does just listen to lo-fi hip hop,
Okay.
like the older stuff. And I guess wanting to dive deeper into lo-fi through Spotify, they've discovered that, you know, all of the
Yeah.
editorials are just full of the same old sleepy study beats that people just that there's a certain group of people that like that, and that's why Spotify are catering to that, because
Yeah.
as you know from all of the massive playlists that are catered towards like sleepy stuff, they're huge. People are obviously listening to them,
Yeah.
so there is a market for that. But it seems like with all of Spotify's editorials, they've more kind of catered to that. And the reason I say that is because while talking to this guy, I was like, let's take a look at something. So for me, like the big old cloud, or like the OGs of lo-fi, or at least that's how I discovered the genre, where people like Jinsang, HM Surf,
Yeah.
Slum, Beside You, all of those type of people. You know, new Jabs, I think, or new Jabs. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Japanese. I can't
New
talk Japanese.
jabs.
New
New
Jabs.
jabs.
So I was like, okay, let's have a look at New Jabs and see how many editorial he's on. He's on
I
one.
honestly don't know how to pronounce it. Like I was
I
just
think it's like
joking.
New
I mean,
Jabes or New Yabes.
I always did the Spanish versions like Nujabes or some shit like that. So
I
it's
think
I
I
don't
think
even know.
J's in Japanese are a yeah. I don't know. I can't. Whatever. So anyway,
I don't
we
speak
looked
Japanese, man.
at Nujabi's whatever, and he's
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
apart from the This Is playlist and the radio, he's only on
yeah.
one editorial playlist.
Yeah, but
No, two.
he's dead. But
Yeah,
he's dead. So
but he's
there's
he's
no
like an
there's no there's
OG.
no. Yeah, he is, but nobody really cares about that stuff.
Okay,
I mean, probably when he passed, and I think this was like a few years ago, maybe he would have had more presence in the playlist, but till then, maybe this kind of dropped down. But yeah, anyway, that's
okay.
besides the
No,
point.
okay. So I think no, he's actually on two. One of them I think is that Lo-Fi Forests one, or Secret Woods, whatever the fuck it is, and the other
Yeah.
one is Lo-Fi Rap. Then so
Yes.
and the other side of things, then let's look at Jinsang. He's current. He's still going. He's still releasing stuff. I think he had something last week. He's only on one editorial playlist.
So fucking bit with noise. He's like he couldn't submit anymore.
Fuck's sake. Okay, fuck's sake. All right, that was a bad example to begin with. Then let's admit that. All right, so Jinsang, he can submit,
Oh
right?
shit!
Sure. Fuck.
Too soon. No. Oh, that was good. That was good. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Fuck.
Holy shit!
I don't know why I'm doing this.
God damn. God bless his soul, man. God bless his soul. Rest in peace, Najamas. Oh shit.
Fucking hell.
Oh man, I'm literally crying. That was a nice one, Marco. That was a nice one, Marco. Oh god damn it.
Back to the point. Come on, guys.
Holy shit, yeah. Let's get it together. You were saying, back to the point.
Right. Jinsang, he can submit. He's not dead. He's very much alive.
Yeah.
He's on, apart from his let's see. Apart from This Is Jinsang Radio, he's only on one editorial, Lo-Fi Beats.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a look at Hoffy Beats, shall we? He's on 8. He's on 8. No, this is no shade, right? This is absolutely no shade.
No, exactly. Like, good for him, good for Hoffy, man. I mean, he's been like like out there everywhere.
Yeah. Aside from his This Is playlist and Hoffy Beats Radio, he's on 1, 2, 3, 6 editorials.
Yeah.
I totally get what this Lo-Fi Jesus guy is on about. That like the OGs of the genre are just not important anymore. It's all of these, these kind of like, new guys, I guess, or new girl. Well, hardly any new girls, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, sad, but yeah.
What about old Swummy? What's he doing? Featuring.
Oh yeah, what about him? He's
featuring
like
Swum. He has, apart from his This Is and Swum Radio, he's on Lush Lo-Fi, Lo-Fi Hip Hop, Coding Mode, which is the Hans Zimmer takeover, and the Lo-Fi Garden. So he's on 4.
Oh, well.
Would I personally say that Jinsang, Nuyabes, and Swum are better than Hoffy Beats? Yeah, personally, I think that they deserve that more.
Yeah. It's interesting. Coding mode. Is this like an modified coding mode Hans Zimmer takeover? So Hans Zimmer put Swim on his coding mode hand. Okay.
Hans Zimmer code. Do you not know that?
Dude, I didn't know that Hans Zimmer was coding. Wow.
What a fucking ridiculous playlist. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's get someone who creates like massive orchestral scores for movies.
The other thing is like when I was I've been diving deep into data and statistics, and especially screenshot is my favorite thing in the world when it comes to Chartmetric website, to the Chartmetric website, because it really has changed through the years as well, in the sense of the appearance initially. Like, I think if you remember when I shared some screenshots from like 3-4 years ago on Discord, they was like, whoa, that shit looks weird as fuck. Back in the golden days where, vinyl digital was dominating everything that was out there. Back then, like, I think because we need to say it, is that Jazz Vibes used to be 200 track playlist, out of which 80 was from vinyl digital.
Yeah.
So yeah. uh, so out of all these playlists where we see a pretty adamant and evident takeover from this Firefly Entertainment
Mm.
company, which
That
we
was the
all know
next
is
thing
like,
that we went into with the
yeah, which is
lo-fi. I
basically
showed
the,
him Chartmetric and he
yeah,
lost his mind, or her mind. It
yeah,
could
yeah.
be a girl. I know, I don't care who it is, but this person
You
lost
can
their
just say
mind.
them.
Yeah,
Let's just call them they, them for the
they
sake
them.
of inclusion. So the only playlist that is actually still unaffected, where you can actually listen to, I don't know, organic
Mm.
shit, or that, like real artists, or something that, for me, it also serves as a nice digging playlist. It's the lo-fi hip hop playlist.
Yeah.
Lo-fi hip dash hop playlist, which has like a little bit, and you can tell from the amount of followers as well, because it's like
Mm.
it only has like 500,000, and it's growing like very slowly as well. Like, of course, you can put the link on Chartmetric, and you will see they don't have like massive gains like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 followers a day.
Yeah.
So usually these playlists are like the ones that are pretty low in priority. I definitely know for a fact, but I cannot really reveal my source, that instrumental hip hop or whatever we're doing now, it's not really a priority for
Hmm.
Spotify or any other streaming platform. It hasn't been for a while. It has been a genre that caught everybody by surprise, in the sense of like both on Spotify and Apple Music, like, oh, what's happening there? Like, who's listening to that shit? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
It's just instrumental. We did some moves in the sense of like trying to, well, not, I wouldn't say capitalizing, but for the lack of a better word, by creating all this editorial playlists and this and that. So there was like some sort of like, I would say, virtual support, because it wasn't actual support
Yeah.
for the genre. And there were people who, kept curating that stuff. I think since we're talking about OGs, we can talk about a curator OG,
Hmm.
which was Athena, back in the golden days of Spotify. Athena Kumis, I think Kumis is her last name. Um, when she was in Spotify and she was curating that stuff, and nobody really knew what was happening there. And she was the one who basically more or less brought chill hop music into the foreground when it
Yeah.
comes to that stuff. But after she left, then things just took a different way. Same within when it came to like curating stuff, of course, stayed within the
Yeah.
curation, but it just expanded into something different that we saw today. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and I like the fact that like you said, basically, like you said, the fact that they don't seem to be a producer. So that's actually maybe the first recorded time in lo-fi history that, that
I
the
know where you're
audience
going.
is actually like the audience, like a listener is actually involved into this, and it's not pissing off cunt producers like us anymore,
Yeah.
just us anymore. It's just like people start noticing about it, and it's like, hey, what's happening to my favorite music? You're fucking
Mm.
it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is definitely great, and that's why I said like it's the first time in recorded lo-fi history, because until now everybody knew that 101% of our audiences were passive listeners, in the sense of like there's like 20 big playlists that we listen, and we just you know
Yeah.
uh, just
I
join
think.
and just listen, and nobody gives a fuck, and nobody follows any producers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I would have like coming into this. I guess I would still consider myself kind of new to the genre. Like I've explained in previous lives, I came across like chilled cow and stuff, and realized that was a genre that I enjoy, before I even started making it. But that was when I like Spotify allowed me to dive deep into the artists like I've mentioned, like HM Surf and stuff like that. But I think if that was to happen now, listening to, jazz vibes or, because admittedly, I don't listen to those playlists. They don't interest me anymore.
No, me neither. No,
They, I
it's
couldn't put that on shuffle and be like, yeah, this is fantastic. And that's kind of disappointing. And I wonder if, if the time was different and I came into this now, whether I would be so keen to kind of jump in and make my own stuff, seeing how the state that everything is at the minute. And I think
I
that's
think
the point.
yeah,
Is it in a state at the moment?
yeah, that's another can of worms right there.
Yeah,
Like if you just landed into the scene right now and it's like, oh, this is a great genre and I would like to do some music and whatever. I wouldn't even know where to start in that, like how to open that kind of worms. It's
yeah,
like, I mean, from what I see, it's like there's been a lot of us, I would say, including myself as a label, not as an artist. I'm a joke when it comes to artistry. Uh, I've been around for a while, got zero fucking support from anyone, especially, streaming platforms. I
yeah,
mean, there is like the occasional, how should I say, placement here or there. Not gonna lie, like I definitely appreciate that, but it hasn't been as evident, as obvious, and or as I'm lost for words today, honestly. It's not as evident as with other labels that they're out there and basically they're getting placement, you know, uh, effortlessly.
yeah.
See what I did there?
But the same
Uh,
goes with
with yeah,
Lo-Fi Girl as well. There
yeah,
was a
yeah, but it's like
conversation that,
it.
no,
Go
go on.
ahead, sorry. No, it's when it comes to like let's say the big guys or the big guns, like Lo-Fi Girl or whatever.
Hmm.
These guys, of course, they couldn't give a fuck about getting placed on the Torah playlist because they have like pretty big playlists in the sense of like of course, Lo-Fi Girl being the pioneer of like a huge playlist that has like shitloads of followers. Yeah. Um, then chill hop music, you know, they have like big playlists as well, but their growth is a lot significantly slower when if you
Yeah,
compare it to Lo-Fi Girl. Then you have college music. The guys have been pretty cool and have been around the scene for a while. I
mm,
would say a little bit. I don't really exactly remember the story, but I think it's like for me they kind of like popped up the same time that Lo-Fi Girl or Chilled Cop popped up. Maybe they were like Chilled Cop was there. I don't know, whatever. But you don't see them getting like any editorial love anywhere. But
hmm,
and having a big playlist, a big third party playlist on your own playlist, it's not really an excuse for any streaming platform to say, oh, I'm just going to casually exclude this guy and that guy and whatever. Or,
yeah,
yeah, when it comes to these guys, we're going to have a lot less tracks because they're big enough. But then there's like a label that shows up like 6 months ago and they have like fucking 40 tracks on a playlist. And you're like, well, and then you're getting, how should I say, and then you're getting triggered if somebody calls you out for payola. I mean, come on,
mm.
man.
I think that's the kind of problem, is that there's just so much music coming out in this scene. Um, and this is something I witnessed a conversation last night where someone that is a part of Lo-Fi Girl was pissed that it's getting to a point where they're actively encouraging their artists, the same old artist, to release album after
More.
album after album.
Yeah.
And we see that with labels outside of Lo-Fi Girl,
Yeah.
where they're releasing compilation after compilation after compilation. Every track on that compilation released as a single, and
Yeah.
I always, like, straight up, over the weekend, I completely just wiped my fucking Spotify of lo-fi people, apart from the people that I genuinely cared about, because
Yeah.
my release radar was getting absolutely ridiculous. I've always been an
Yeah.
advocate for supporting artists, and I
Yeah.
loved following new people and discovering new guys and girls in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's now got to a point where I had I told you, didn't I? Last week I had
Yeah.
115 tracks on my release radar, and 53 to 55 of them were lo-fi tracks.
Lo-fi. Yeah, and you're like, fuck that.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I'm pretty loud that I listen to music outside of lo-fi, and that music is being drowned out. I want to know what my 2005 emo bands are doing now. I don't really care what Tom, Dick, and Harry lo-fi beats is doing. Because I know that give it a week, they'll have an album's worth of tracks for me to catch up on. Yeah. And I think that's something that this Lo-Fi Jesus guy was talking about as well, is that there's just so fucking much. People are just pumping out. They're just pumping it out. And how can you care for the music that you're making if, and this is what this other person was talking about last night, that how can you go and release an album and be like, oh, this means so much to me. Like, this is so, such a good album. I spent so much time creating this. And then a week later, they're saying exactly the same thing about their next album.
Exactly.
And, we've said this before. You've got artists that take years to release something. And, we're just chasing that fucking monthly listener number, because if we don't release something in a week, everyone's forgotten about us. It moves on so quickly. And I think that in itself is the issue. That
it is.
There's a very small percentage of artists that I feel actually genuinely care about the art that they're putting out there. They spend the time to create a story about it. They spend time, honing their sound, creating something genuinely unique, and putting that out there and being like, hey, listen to this. And then, they're talking about that for weeks, months, until they even think about starting their next project. And I personally would like to see more of that, more of artists taking time to create. If you want to create a beat a day, go for it. Like, that's awesome. That's practice. That's working on your craft. That's maybe learning new skills, doing new production and stuff like that. You don't have to release it. You can just keep it. You could create a folder of 50 tracks, and then find the ones that really stand out to you as an artist, the ones that really say, this is the story that I want to tell. This is who I am as an artist. This is how I tell my story, and release those tracks and tell everyone how special it actually is, without then in a week's time, or here's another 15 tracks, here's another EP, or here's another compilation release.
Yeah.
A lot
of
thought.
Like that, they will be able, like, exactly, just to add to what you said, it's like people will understand how special it is to you.
Exactly. This is what someone mentioned in the chat, is that's how you would be able to build your fan base, because they might not hear from you for 2 months, and then you come out with a project that is genuinely good because you've spent all that time working on it. And that's going to have more impact on people that listen to you than, oh, here's another track with this label, here's another track with this label, here's another track with that, here's compilation release, and it's hard to keep up with people that release weekly, but I do understand that the way that things are going at the moment, you have to do that in order to stay relevant.
Yeah. I think it's just like a relevancy thing at the end of the day, nothing more, nothing less, And it's sad that a streaming platform, because we're talking about one fucking streaming platform all this fucking time, and it's fucking Spotify, can dictate to you as an artist what to do. Or let's just say, let me rephrase that. Let's say allows. No, you allow a streaming platform to tell you how to approach your art. Which I think is it's sad. It's ridiculous and sad and funny but the main vibe that I'm getting is just like fucking sad. Like you said, like I have nothing against people with, that they want to release every week, fucking knock yourself out, man. Like, burn your brains out, release what you want to release every week. Nevertheless, there's been, like, I would say personally, 3-4 people like that I watched, releasing, pumping shit after shit after shit, saying shit meaning like, joints or tracks or whatever you want to call it. I personally don't, how should I say? I don't see that much of a, difference in the sense of like quality or uh, variation or production techniques or something like that. Like it's like the same in the sense of it takes me maybe like a month to come up with something, but and the next month that I will, release something else as well, it's gonna sound the same. But that is me. Like I'm not even a fucking musician, you know what I mean? Like that shit coming from me for it's expected, but that's just me. But you being like multi-instrumentalist or whatever, and your shit sounds the same, and you put out the same shit every week. I mean, you also cannot. You also don't put it out. It's fine. That I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but it's.
I feel like you're saying that it kind of does them a disservice as a musician. That
exactly. Just like chasing this
stuff.
chasing this fucking number. Because what the fuck is like a, it's a fucking number, man. Because why isn't everybody talking about Apple Music? Because Apple Music doesn't share any fucking numbers on artist profiles. And I think that it is the healthier option to do that. And I've come across like artists who come to release with me, and they're like by the way they would talk about something, you would understand they're just only, referring to Spotify. And like, dude, like first of all, you're being highly demanding in the sense, what we said previously, like, oh, put me there and put me that in the playlist and whatever and post of the Instagram and blah blah blah, and you don't do this and that. And literally, and I've tested with a couple of people, like I would just put their shit on Spotify and not put them on the Apple playlist or the Deezer playlist or the Tidal playlist or whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody came to me and was like, Paul, why isn't my track on your Apple Music playlist? Because I'm broke as fuck and I don't have money to spend. Like I don't want to spend money on Apple Music. Don't.
Yeah.
But checking if your track is on a playlist, it's like it takes you like, I don't know, 2 minutes on Google. It's not that bad. It's not that difficult. So
this is something I've seen with other artists as well, especially because I've started to make sure that my playlists are at least on Deezer. I haven't got an Apple Music subscription myself yet, but I plan to do that with our local stuff. But what I've noticed is the amount of artists that don't put their music on platforms other than Spotify is mind-boggling.
Yeah,
I use I think it's called Tune My Music that just transfers the Spotify plays from Deezer. Every time I do that, there's at least 1 or 2 tracks that just aren't available on Deezer. And I'm like, it costs you nothing. Like if you release with DistroKid, obviously it costs you a yearly subscription, whatever. Let's say you release with Runo free, they take some of your whatever's royalties. You have the option to tick every single DSP.
Exactly.
Why aren't you?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
I find that really strange that people are just like, I want it to be on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever.
Yeah.
I tick all of them for every single one of the releases that I do. I don't know if anyone from Russia is listening to my music on Yandex, but at least it's there.
Yeah,
I think Yandex is Russian. That might be Chinese.
It is.
That's like having your music available to any potential fans wherever they are seems like a no-brainer. But like some of these artists are just like Spotify, Apple Music. That's it. That's all I care about.
It seems like some of these artists just have no brains.
Fucking hell. But it's strange. Like I get it. Spotify has a lot of the market share, but to not
let me just quickly go through some of the comments because I don't want people to think it's like send us stuff without. So Technica, I think this was like from a bit earlier. Isn't it strange that there's not really hype around artists nowadays, only around tracks? There are so many beat makers, common listener people don't really care anymore. Yes, this is like 100%, sadly. And I think this this is not just, how should I say? I wouldn't initially, maybe like a few years ago, I would think that that was like the case, that it came with the genre. Um, but I think the beat makers themselves, along with the the streaming platforms, we kind of like endorse it consciously or subconsciously, in the sense of like, by what what we've been talking about the past 5-10 minutes, that you go into this mode of keep releasing and keep releasing. So if you make like 100 releases in 3 months,
Hmm.
it's not special anymore.
No,
So nobody's gonna be, what, you're not gonna have like hardcore fans that are gonna be waiting for that next Lazyboyloops release, whatever, because fucking Lazyboyloops pumps out a fucking track the same way he pumps out turds. Like you go for a shitter,
maybe not.
you go take a shit, like you go take a shit, you pop out a track, boom, that's it. So it's
Yeah,
like, if it's that easy, then it's not there, it's not special. Maybe, maybe you're that good that you can do it so effortlessly. Yeah.
fucking
But
stop.
at the end of the day, come on, man. Like you
Yeah,
said, put them on the side. You don't have to pump them. I mean, if you have like a fucking 100 tracks right now, the best thing you can do, at least, you can make a nice little schedule for you. You can
mm,
take the next year off producing, if you know what I mean.
exactly.
Like, schedule everything out, and then just chill the fuck out, and just pretend, oh, I've been working for this last month.
Yeah. But the
It's
thing is, like
fine.
we've said
Nobody.
previously, like
Yeah,
marketing is a huge part of the music as well. Like yeah, you've got
exactly.
100 tracks, boom. You've now got a shit ton of
Yeah,
time that you can do to push all this stuff out and really get that in front of
exactly.
not just people on playlists, because we're all very much aware that playlists are are passive. You could work on
Yeah,
building connections with, tastemakers, other influencers on platforms to, use that time to get your music out to audiences that actually care about that music and think, okay, yeah, this is awesome. I'm
yeah,
going to follow what they do.
exactly. Or you can just take your fucking time to, what we were talking about in the previous lives, that, oh, sorry, Instacasts, because we want this to fucking take up.
Instacast.
Uh, Instacast. Uh, Focus on your fucking brand, bro.
Hmm.
Nice and easy. Make sure everything is the same, is cohesive. Like, you have a SoundCloud account, you have an Instagram account, you have a fucking YouTube account. Like, can I find you on every, like, is every place that I find you online a gateway to your other profiles? That's also like pretty important. I mean, there's
Hmm.
also like
Yeah.
some people who say, fuck it, I'm only gonna be on Instagram. Which is, sure, everybody can do everybody can do whatever they fucking want at the end of the day. Um, the way that I see it, and I'm pretty sure you see it like that, is the same concept with this sort of like DSP checkbox.
Hmm.
I mean, if I can do it, why not? At the end of the day, you don't have to have like an active account on
No.
Instagram if you don't like Instagram. You can just have a profile. So some people do it, like including me. We just do a profile on TikTok or whatever, just to make sure nobody takes that
Yeah.
username, for example. Like, so you can claim it. It's your identity anyway. I mean, I'm my example is like, I haven't properly done it, full stop. Therefore, instead of being able to have, like, let's say, a cohesive handle across all these different platforms, it's like Pueblo Vista, one word, Pueblo dash Vista, Pueblo underscore Vista. And it's like, yeah, I mean, my fucking Facebook is Pueblo Vista X. It's like, like I didn't, you can see the amount of effort that I put there
Yeah.
as well. So it's like, come on. So
I
yeah,
mean, I have a
it's
Facebook
sad
page. I
that it
don't use
happens.
it. I think
Yeah,
I
exactly.
occasionally cross
Me
post
neither.
from Instagram.
Mate, that's exactly what I'm fucking doing. That's exactly it. Like, post it on Instagram. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing for Twitter, but fucking Twitter, for some reason, does not post videos. It just posts a fucking link to the
Links.
Instagram post. And you're like, come on, dude.
There
And
are
then
tools
I
that you
have to
can
go
use.
in. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So
I'll send you a link to something. You can get it so it just pulls the video natively and posts it to Twitter.
yeah, this I used to use like a couple of these sort of like multi-social media poster thingies.
Yeah, this is I use if this then that.
Is it like one of your
IFTT.
secret tricks, like the other
Not
algorithm
really.
trick that you
It's
saw?
like
Okay,
it's essentially just like coding, but for people that can't code. And you just basically type
yes.
in, if I post to Instagram, then post the native image or video onto Twitter. It's
All
just that
right,
simple. And then it
cool,
just
nice.
automatically, every time you post on Instagram, it'll trigger the thing and it'll push it through to Twitter. I should probably set something up
So,
like that as well.
dude, yeah, I mean, I think question for the chat: how much money would you pay for that? Uh, anyway,
Could it
next,
also be
let's
the
see, next
distributors
over here.
don't send your music to other platforms and people don't check those? At least
Yeah,
when I tried to remove one of my older songs, it didn't disappear from all platforms. I think sending to and removing is a very different um,
yeah, yeah,
process.
it is. It is
It's very hard, especially if you use things like DistroKid that probably get hundreds of thousands of requests and tracks a day.
like that every day.
Um,
Yeah,
you know, being having a release on DistroKid and then having a release through Dashgo, it takes way longer for DistroKid to get it into stores because they have so much that they're going through. Whereas obviously Dashgo
yeah,
is very specific to this particular genre, so it only takes a couple of days.
yeah,
That kind of is the same process with removing, but it's worse because it's up
yeah.
to the platform to actually pay attention to that. And I would probably say like 30% of the time they don't. So
Yeah,
you kind of
with
really just have to
removal,
chase it.
yeah, with removal, it's like every platform has a different update cycle.
Yeah.
So, with usually when you release something out, it goes out pretty fast to everybody. I mean, the fastest one that I've seen is usually Apple. That goes within 24 hours, you see it, and then it's Spotify and then everybody else. But when it comes to removing the stuff, yeah, if it's like, I mean, Yandex are pretty straightforward, and they actually moved light years forward in their support.
Mm.
Most of them speak English now, which is great. So if you have like issues in, with removing anything, you can just send an email to the support
Yeah.
team and they can really get on it really fast.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
remember I
if
had
the
some
request is
issues
there
like
from your
that.
distributor, they will usually follow it through.
Exactly. So it's really straightforward. Like what else we have? Let's see. Like a lot of us need to build our own dedicated brands, fan base in conjunction with labels, etc. Integrated. This is like a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
there.
I remember
Yeah,
this
this
one.
is yeah. We talked about this like extensively. I think that we talk about this every
Yeah.
other no in every fucking live that we do actually. Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. If you wanna, I think for me, and this is like I don't really accept any half baked shit. Um, you're an artist, you put your music out there, you have to work for your brand. You're a
Hmm.
brand.
Yeah.
If you think just slapping a cool photo on your profile picture and then that's that, you think that works for you? If that works for you, go ahead and do it. But it's usually that's not the way it works. Like you're a brand and you need to take care of your brand, and your brand evidently grows with you too, in the sense
Yeah.
of, for example, maybe a bad example, but whatever. Justin Bieber, he doesn't have the same branding that he had like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he was branded more of like, this sort of like teenage girl singer,
Yeah.
heartthrob, whatever, whatever. Now, he's like more of the grown up, but his branding evolved with him, like the imagery, the artwork that he would use, the lettering, the typography, like all the
Yeah.
stuff that comes with it. It's not just like, oh, I don't have a professional photographer friend to take photo. No, I mean, it's lo-fi. You don't really need a photograph. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like whatever. Come on. Like
The,
you can
the,
go and fucking Google any fucking shitty anime, whatever, and just cut it and just put it on your. I mean, come on, man.
yeah. But I
By
think
the way, I got a
there's
set of. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go on. Let's say what
No,
you got
I
to
got a
say.
set. I got a set of t-shirts of Amazon with anime stuff. I just found a honeypot of prints. I just ordered like fucking 10 of them. My wife saw that shit. She was like, "Oh, colors." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I need to move away from black. I used to wear a lot of black stuff
Yeah.
all the time."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, if you would have bought that stuff for me, I would never wear it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I didn't buy it for you. I just bought it for me."
There are
40.
so aspects
Yeah,
to building a brand,
there
even
are.
down to the color theming on your Instagram.
Yes, yes,
Making sure. One great example, I guess, would be Monofi. Every single post that he does has
yeah,
a purple like hue to it, so you can go to his page and
yeah,
see that. It's the same
yeah,
with even yourself. You used to
yeah,
have the orange borders around all of your posts. You could scroll through your feed and see that it was all uniform. You had that kind of
yeah,
color theory going on,
yeah,
and something as subtle as just a filter on your pictures as you're releasing an EP or something that then
yeah,
evolves as you change. You're releasing the next one that an next EP or album that is more green toned.
yes,
So change your Instagram to be a bit more like green to be
yes,
to show that evolution and stuff like that. And like
yeah,
there's just so much to building their brand. Like what we're doing now,
yeah,
we're doing
exactly.
this because it's kind of fun, but we're also doing it because at
Yeah,
the end of the day we're trying to build our brand. The blog posts that I write, I'm not doing well. I mean,
yeah,
I do enjoy writing, and it's something that I do enjoy
yeah,
doing. But I'm doing that because I'm trying to build my brand out there as something that's a bit more, more involved in the community and trying to help out and stuff like that. And
yeah,
that's something that
yeah,
over the past, I'd probably say year, I've realised that people kind of like to hear people speaking out. Um,
yeah, yeah,
we've
yeah,
already had a couple of people in the comments say that it's nice to see people talking about this,
yeah,
and yeah, that's exactly what I enjoy doing. I kind of like seeing how things are evolving, how things are moving, and if it's
yeah.
good, I'll praise that. If it's not good, I'll say.
We'll throw, yeah, fuck it, man. We'll throw shit at it again. I mean, we're not Jesus, but still,
No,
it's,
no, but we're we're
I,
sliding into
I,
Jesus DMs.
exactly. Me and Jesus are like this, bro.
Exactly.
So no, it's really cool. Like there has to be some sort of like, um, somebody has to speak out about stuff. I mean, we're not trying to be crusaders
No.
or martyrs or anything like that. We just like to speak out. I mean, everybody speaks out about everything, this past 10 years. So maybe if we start speaking about stuff that are really important to what we are doing,
Yeah.
maybe people are gonna find some sort of like truth behind it or guidance or whatever. I mean, we
Well,
can always say that, we're not specialists at what we do. We're embedded into the scene. We're in part of the scene as, artists, label owners, whatever. There's like 100,000 different sources where we get our information as well, because we tend to, I mean, that's the good thing with when it comes to the label level, is like we tend to talk with a lot more people than usually, the average artist would talk to.
yeah.
So it's not like an echo chamber. I mean, our echo chamber is a lot bigger. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, we definitely have some people like who's like consistently in the audience and listen
Mm.
to our stuff. I mean, that's part of the echo chamber as well.
Yeah.
But I know there's other people who find out about us, for example, and us talking about that shit from other people. It's like, oh yeah, Paul and Aaron are shooting this shit, and they
Mm.
said this about that guy, whatever. And I totally agree. Like it's people will attract themselves uh, to controversy and to drama. We as humans, we just love people getting fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then sometimes it's making wholesome content is not as cool as some other kids
Calling
think.
someone a
However,
cunt.
like fuck it, yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's like I don't know if you heard about this. Do you know this YouTuber Nico Cado Avocado? You
No.
heard about him? Anyway, you can look him up. Like he does mukbang videos,
Right.
and he over advertised himself as gay as well. I mean, he's gay, good for him. And he also made like an OnlyFans account, and I've seen his asshole more times than I should have seen anybody's asshole, because there was like a trend at some point on Twitter that people would just post his OnlyFans content. Anyway, long story short, yeah, that's context, people. That's context.
Long story short, I like butt stuff now.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know where I was going with this anyway. Like he started off as playing. Oh yeah, content. You know, I think he plays the violin, and he would do like videos like that, and some sort of like a deep thought stuff and whatever. But the moment he started like doing like mukbang videos and then crying and bitching about something, he saw that people were gravitating towards this content. Like, you know, they would love this sort of like drama, him exploding, whatever. And now he reached a point after like, I don't know, because he broke out in around 2018. I don't know if I don't think I ever told you this, but I'm pretty big when it comes to I watch a lot of commentary channels on YouTube. I just love this fucking I love how that platform has evolved, and the people who are in this platform, you know, from the Paul brothers to that guy. It's my no-brainer content. Like when I just want to like I just don't want my brain to function properly or just to like numb it down. I just watch shit like that. That's what I do.
Garbage.
Exactly. I'm a drone. So yeah, and he started like doing stuff like that, and the dude like he must have gained like I don't know 150 kilos since then. Like I think it's like in pounds, he's like close to 300 pounds now, and he was like what 80 pounds? Well, not no. I think what is it like a pound is like 2 pounds is like 1 kilo, and yeah, he's close to 300, and he was like 100 and something. Like he was like a thin, skinny boy, and now he's like fucking like he has like his chin has a chin. You know what I mean? But again, this is like I'm just trying to highlight how people. Anyway, I think we can kill that segment. People just try to focus on shit rather than actual stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think what we can take it from this is like, you know, shit like that will kill you because the guy's like, you know, he traded his fucking health eating like, I don't know, 10, eating for fast foods like that. But anyway,
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Like people will gravitate more towards that controversy and that drama. But at the same time, I kind of feel like there are people there that have these thoughts about, you know, like going back to what we're doing, like, you know, the lo-fi scene. People will have these thoughts and feelings, but they might not necessarily feel like other people think that. And then they're sitting there thinking, oh, am I wrong thinking this? Am I, you know, is this something that I really should be thinking about, something I'm trying to get involved in? And the fact that the fact that we are just straight up calling out the bullshit, maybe people are coming along being like, oh shit, no, people do think this too. And it kind of, I've had a few people come to me when I shared the fucking lo-fi Jesus thing, of people saying, yeah, like lo-fi is going to the dogs. And you know, times where we've shared specific things within our Insta lives, I've had people come and say, I totally agree with what you're saying. I'm glad that you're saying stuff like that because it needs to be said. Like, I think there are artists that are getting sick of this weekly cycle that's happening. But they don't know how to escape it. And I think that's the kind of big issue. Hopefully it will die out, but unfortunately, and this kind of moves on to something that I wanted to push us into next. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon because of the opportunities that are available to people. And this kind of goes on to something that you posted earlier this week about milestones, which I think might have ruffled some feathers. So, like, you know, you posted some stories that was like, oh, it's milestone season, and you know, oh, I've received my million from my one release on Lo-Fi Girl. Oh, fuck me. And you know, yes, you followed it up by being like, no shade, like get, you know, celebrate these milestones, but also understand where they're coming from.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that again is a big thing that this genre is. There's we've discussed this before. There's a lot of fakery in this genre. I mean, I'm verified. How the fuck am I verified? we all know that how that works, or we have some indication of how that works. Personally, I'm not going to say, but I'm thinking you're more than happy to say how you can burn that bridge if you want, whatever. But
well, everybody knows. I think I was pretty vocal about it. I just told Universal to hook me up with that. I gave him my passport and all that, whatever. There was a couple of press mentions, and it happened. It seems though that this is actually a lot easier than that. But judging by the amount and frequency of verifications just flying around, like, because I don't remember, like, anyway.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of fakery in this. Not in a negative way, but these milestones that a lot of people are posting are, unfortunately, they're great. They're great for these people. Don't get me wrong. I'm so happy that you're hitting 1 million. I'm so happy that you've managed to get from 0 to 1 million in 3 months.
Great.
You do. That is awesome. But it's when it seems like they're more than happy to be like, I want to thank my fans or all these people that listen to me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like, yes, great. You've got 1 million. Awesome. But you've just been put on this playlist. You've been put on this playlist. Millions of streams have come from the hundreds of thousands of people that listen to this playlist while they're cooking, sleeping, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly,
You can't be serious by being like, oh, my fans, thanks to all my fans.
Oh my God.
Am I being bitter? 100%. Would I love to be in that position of being able to celebrate 1 million streams in 3 months? Yeah. I want to get that bag. But I think when that happens to me, because it's inevitable. If I keep pushing, if I keep going on more playlists, and I'm inevitably going to hit that 1 million, I'm not going to be like, I want to thank all my fans. I want to thank all of the playlists that I've managed to get myself on. Or, the labels that have carried me
exactly.
You like a sweet little baby to the million. I think that, in a way, is what I find most frustrating. Not that you're hitting these milestones before me, not that you're getting that bag, you're getting your bread, whatever the fuck. It's that they seem to just blindly be ignoring the fact that they found themselves in a position where they can achieve that very easily by being close to and getting heavily involved with basically simping certain people. If we're going to go back to our let's get cancelled roots, getting on their knees and sucking the right dick, and if that makes me bitter, I will hold my hands up and say absolutely I'm bitter. But I kind of don't want to put myself in that position where I'm putting all of my eggs in one basket, because that's in a sense what it is. Because as we've spoken about before, that fucking lo-fi elevator, you could be fucking shooting to the top in those 3 months. But if you don't,
you can.
Again, going back to the last conversation, if you don't keep hammering that and creating the same shit for this specific playlist, for this specific curator, for this specific label, you're just going to get put in the bin. And there's a part of me that's like, where's the passion in that? And again, we're kind of cycling back round to what we've just said previously of, you're farting the same shit out in a week, in a month. Where's the passion? Where this is just another 9 to 5 at this point. You're creating music for somebody else to get a paycheck. You're creating something. You're building something for someone else so you can get paid. That isn't, in my opinion, what musicians and what artists should be doing. They should be making music for themselves. They should be making music for fans, if they have them, and building up a fan base. If you're sitting there every month creating 60 to 100 tracks for a specific label, playlist, genre, type of style, you might as well just call it a job. I know being a musician, being an artist is a job in itself once it gets to the point where you are earning that money. But there's got to be that passion in it as well. And it bums me out that, these kids kind of come from nothing, find that they can get put on this massive playlist that will get them, you know, hundreds of tens to 50 to 100,000 streams a day, and just pumping that stuff out. For someone that, you know, has spent years playing music, playing instruments, learning how, you know, even my music production, I've learned all that from scratch, and how to, you know, carve out frequencies to make things come through, how, you know, you have this frequency spectrum when you're creating music that if you're putting a shit ton into, you know, the high mids or whatever, it's going to sound trash, you know, and the intricacies of that, that, you know, I love doing that. I've put so much time and effort into that, but then, you know, for these kind of splice wave people to come along and kind of cheat and get to the front of the line, I don't know, maybe I am better.
I would just say this. I'm going to try to unpack what you just said.
I said a lot.
Because it's okay. Like, it's there, like everything else in this fucking life, you know, things, you know, the media that we use, the tools that we use, the processes that we use evolve. You know, it's not like the internet from 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's the, you know, broadband internet, you have fiber optics, you have DSLs, there's no dial-up computer, dial-up modem. Like I came from you've experienced that as well. So there's been great strides that have been made. Also, you know, in music, like there used to be a time that for you to listen to a specific record, you had to own that physical record.
Yeah.
That was it. So now, of course, like we do as, you know, as a race or as musicians, we definitely let the technology and the media and all that stuff dictate our course, let's say through time or through whatever the fuck we do. I definitely agree with you with everything that you said. I don't think we're being bitter. I don't think saying that what you just said makes you sound bitter at all. I'm pretty sure that a person who you have just described hears what you said, he's going to think that about you. I don't think that Aaron sounds bitter. I'm pretty sure like the people in the chat in our little or bigger echo chamber don't think that either. It's just like what it boils down to me, it's the same thing that's happening with Instagram verification now. You hitting 1 million monthly listeners or 1 million streams on Spotify right now, it's not special anymore.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. Because I see all these people like, you know, hitting the 1 million monthly listener mark, which is a great achievement in it of itself. It's a great achievement, like having like a fucking 1 million people listening to you every month. Like 10 years ago, I couldn't even imagine that number because 10 years ago, there was no SoundCloud. There was no, well, there was, I don't know, I'm getting too old. But a little bit over 10 years ago, there was no SoundCloud. There was no YouTube. There was no fucking Spotify. The only thing that existed back there in a sort of like global level was iTunes.
Yeah.
But then for your music to get into iTunes, you have to sign up your tracks to a label, and they had connections they could put it there.
Or you paid a shit ton of money, I think, to use CD Baby was one of the only.
Or some shit like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. TuneCore, you know, stuff like this. So on the one hand, it's great that you achieved that. On the other hand, it's not that important. However, I think where both you and me meet is in the fact that the importance of that achievement should be realistic in the sense of like exactly what you said, thanking your fans. Fuck off. When I go into your fucking Spotify and you have like a couple of thousand followers and you're hitting like 2 million monthly listeners, you don't have any fans, bro. Or sister, or whatever the fuck. You don't have fans. You cannot be thanking fans or thank you guys. Like, who's the guys? Is it the fans? Is it me and you? Because we all know by now no fucking lo-fi producer is happy with another lo-fi producer's success. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, the moment that you say something, and of course, I'm joking to a certain level, but the moment I would say, like somebody, like Aaron is posting, like, oh, 1 million monthly listeners, and then I'm posting, like, fire emoji, well deserved, bro.
I
The
literally
moment
left
I
that
hit
comment.
send, the moment I hit send, I'm like, fuck you, Aaron.
Yeah.
So
We've always sent those comments.
yeah, fuck that. So let's just be realistic. Um,
Yeah, I
like
think that's
that was the context of the stories that I posted last week, was that, oh my god, like my track reached like 10 million streams, and it was like featured on and it was like a release from Lo-Fi Girl. Oh my god, thank you guys. Dude, come on, like, if that motherfucker didn't put the track on his playlist, he wouldn't have gotten that number. You know that. Because
Hmm.
this is what we're trying to be like. We're not being like old school or whatever. Because I remember back in the day when I used to DJ, I started like with vinyl records, and then CDs happened, and I remember the DJ generation that taught me to use records. They were like, this is for pussies and fuck that, and you're not a
Yeah,
real DJ if you use CDs. Dude, it's the same principle. It's just that the medium changed. And after
yeah,
that, it went to MP3s. And then I understood it because I used to travel back and forth in the UK with fucking two bags, well, two DJs cases full of fucking records. And I would have like, what, 60 tracks with me? And this 60 tracks was like fucking 60 kilos. And you're like,
yeah,
fuck that. I'm going to use CDs.
yeah,
Um, maybe the tools became were optimized even more, where you could see like waveform in the CDJs, or there's like DJ software where they do like automated beat matching. But again, these are options that you can deactivate if you want, and you can do
yeah.
your classic, like my ideal DJ setup now, if I ever move out in a house by myself, like if I own my own house, would be to make like a DJ corner, even though I barely DJ anymore, where I'm just gonna have fucking Serato or some shit like that, and two virtual vinyl records on two
Hmm.
turntables, because this is how I wanna, emulate this old school thing.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's not necessarily bad. And for a moment, for a long time, I was thinking like, are we being like these old DJ guys who are giving shit to the new medium, by giving shit to by talking trash, or like
Mm.
speaking up about stuff like this? Are we being the fucking Muppet guys from the
Yeah.
Muppet Show? But yeah, we are, definitely we are. But I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to say, my dude, just fucking try to be realistic about it, in the sense
Well,
of like,
yeah.
I
Like,
don't want that shit on my feed, in the way, like, of course, like, you can say, oh, bro, if you don't like it, don't listen to my music, whatever. Yeah, that's why I'm unfollowing you. That's why you said you cleared out your, yeah, that's why you said, yeah, you cleared out your following list on Spotify, because you were getting trash after trash. So we are going to use this option. We are
mhm.
going to unfollow you and undo this and undo that and whatever. Sure. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's what I'm saying. It's,
Well, I think so. Get Getting something with Lo-Fi Girl, right? That for
yeah.
some people is, top tier. And
Yeah.
we're all very much aware how difficult it is and how very particular they are for their artists. So that in itself is a huge deal. That's awesome that you've managed to get that.
Mhm.
Their previous controversy aside, that's awesome that you've managed to get in that inner circle to a point where
Exactly.
they're listening, whoever it is listening to your music and saying, yes, we want to release this. And then putting
Yeah.
it out there, you're getting that monthly listeners, blah, blah, blah. And then if someone was to come out and be like, secured Lo-Fi Girl, got 100 million, how cool is that? Hell yeah, like raise the roof, here's some fire emojis, well deserved, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be bitter at that. I'm not going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm just going to be like, cool. you know,
Yeah.
want to collab?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because that's the other thing that we see. Like, on one hand, for me, it's like exactly like you, in the sense of like, good for you, mate. You released that, yeah, that's great for you. Not my cup of tea, though. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. I understand what the financial and exposure benefits might be.
Mhm.
However, it's temporary. In the sense of,
Yeah.
especially the exposure thing goes, lo-fi elevators, we talked about that. Like, it's like a drug. You need to keep pumping out shit with them, with lo-fi girl or any lo-fi girl, for you to stick in the numbers, to stay up in the numbers. And this is what's going to kill you in the long run when it comes to the good old algorithm there, because Spotify just sees this all the time, while with other people, it's like being consistent, or there's like a consistent rise or a consistent fall, or like they're flatlining, or that's it. I've been flatlining for the past 2.5 years. Like, I've been on that fucking 1 mil monthly listeners for as long as I can remember, since the end of 2018 or beginning 2019. And my dude, this has been like almost like 2 and something years. Like, and if there's something I will brag about, is this. So if you're telling me, oh, you started last year and now you got 1 million and whatever, okay, let's see you keeping that for 2.5, 3 years. Keep that, and then we whatever.
That's the thing, like,
If you want to call me bitter, meanwhile you want to call me bitter, like you said, by all means, call me a bitter old man. But again, how should I say? I don't give a fuck about you. Like, who even are you to talk about whatever? You know what I mean? In the sense of like, I don't consider anybody competition. Like, it's whatever. So and anything that I would say, mainly when I criticize stuff, it really comes from the heart. Like, if my criticism includes a lot of bad words that are directed to a specific person, maybe that's like negative criticism. But for the most part, I'm trying to be positive about stuff. Like, wake up and smell the coffee. Because another big thing that none of these guys like really understand is the fact is this. I mean, it's public data on Chartmetric, is the conversion to convert the listener to fan conversion ratio. Like, how many of these fans are you converting? Like, I might have like a lot less streams than you, but my conversion ratio now is like, it's 3.5%. And, we all start with 0. But for that motherfucker to go to 3%, it really needs a time. Like, and I have like 36,000 followers on Spotify right now as an artist. So
I think the point, though, is that we're not being bitter that you've hit that milestone. What we're kind of being critical of in this specific scenario, and if people follow the stream of stories that you posted earlier this week, you're not being like, oh shit, milestone, dude, fuck you. You're being like, great that you've hit that milestone, but just be conscious of where that milestone came from. If if you've got that through Lo-Fi Girl playlists, if you've got that through other playlists or other labels that you've released with, like, just
thank them.
That's cool.
Thank them. Thank them. Don't thank the guys.
Exactly. Don't thank the fans or the guys, or thanks to everyone who listened. To be honest, everyone who listened, they don't care. They're using this playlist to sleep.
Dude, the majority of the people who listened, they don't even know who you are. So you just blindly thanking them through an Instagram post that they will most likely never see in their lives. It's a bit stupid. It's like, you don't have to do that. I mean, and how should I say? I don't understand stuff like, oh, I'm young and I don't know better. And no, you're in this. If you're in the music business, and you're trying to put your music out and do this and do that, you must know that kind of shit. Because if you come to me now after like a couple of years of you releasing and hitting all those milestones and this and that, and you're telling me, mechanical royalties, what's that, Paul? I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like, come on. Because then you're basically proving my point, me saying that you're a douchebag and you don't know shit for shit.
Yeah.
So what do you think this music is all about? It's just like Spotify and numbers there. Great. I mean, I remember when I first hit the 100 monthly listeners, and I sent a screenshot to my mom on Messenger, and she was like, "Wow, that's like more people than they live in our block." Like, yeah, sure. And then that number kept going up and up. But I would, how should I say, I would send those screenshots to my folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't post them on social media because I know like I knew that there's no
We're all
true
clued
essence
in.
behind it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's okay. The only thing that I would post in terms of numbers, and that I like flexing that, is when Spotify again comes up with this, artist rap. I think this is what everybody should post. You can post that. You can feel free to flex about it. The streaming platform that hosts your music gives you that for free, which is great. You can have like an overview of what you did that year,
Hmm.
instead of you trying to hook up numbers and download CSV files and understand what's here and there. But
Yeah.
I think other than that, just it's what you said earlier. Like just focus on your shit.
Mm. Yeah.
We are all happy that you can get those milestones or we can get those milestones, and it's great. And we're not saying that you shouldn't post about it and you should be happy about it, or whether we like it or not. We live in a day and age where, I mean, people share their assholes on fucking social media. Why not like a few numbers? It's like it won't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
so
I think
so yeah.
being such like involved in this scene now, like my wife said to me like, "Oh, you've hit 600,000 streams," like that's absolutely like mind-boggling and insane. But I guess in a sense, it's like inflation. Like we know
Yeah,
that if
yeah,
we get on
yeah,
a playlist that can give us like 10K plays a day, we know that we're going to be hitting those fucking streaming numbers within days.
yeah,
And it's kind of being aware that I think in a different genre or a different part of the music industry, hitting those numbers is mind blowing.
it
But
is. It is.
unfortunately, the reality is, yes, there are big numbers that you can get within the lo-fi scene incredibly easy, and it's that I find the most disappointing part, I guess. It does
Yeah,
bum me out a little because I would love, if I told myself like 10 years ago, you're going to make music that's going to be getting, you're going to have 500,000 streams, 500,000 listeners, whatever. There, 500,000 people are going to be listening to your music. I'd be like, fuck off. Don't, do you listen to the
yeah.
music
This
that I
was like,
create in
yeah,
this
yeah,
moment in
yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's that slap of the face of reality where or when you kind of find the behind the scenes of how things work when someone shows you a magic trick. It's like, oh, okay, it's just that. It's not as special anymore. And I kind of definitely feel like, for me at least, these like monthly listener numbers and listener milestones are we know how they do the trick. We know how the magic behind it. There is no magic
Yeah,
behind it. You
yeah,
just need
yeah,
to
yeah.
find the right people, and you know, you could call it networking if you want. You network with the right people, with the right labels, with the right artists. Yeah, you'll hit those stuff, and like that's absolutely fine. But for me personally, I'm just like, oh, that sucks.
No, mate, like for me, it's like, how should I say? It's not, I think any number is great. You know what I mean? Like, I have 1 million monthly listeners. You have like 50,000 monthly listeners. Doesn't matter in the sense of like, it's a great number either way.
Yeah,
Like, it's like, who would, like, exactly what you said, like, who would have thought like a year ago or 2 years ago before you start, you would have like 50,000 people on a monthly basis
yeah.
listening to your shit. Like, how many people have you seen gathered in one spot at the same time?
Yeah.
10, 20,000 maybe? You've been in a big concert? I don't know. For me, like, I cannot, how should I say? I think the biggest crowd that I've ever been in was like fucking, it was like a music event in Newcastle, like fucking years ago, where Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers played together. And there must have been, I don't know, like 40,000 people there,
Yeah.
50. I mean, even football stadiums, like the biggest one from my hometown that I come from, which is like on the rival team, that from the one that I'm supporting, can get up to like 45,000 people. A
That's a
fucking
stadium.
million? That's a fucking like
Yeah.
imagine if it's like every month, every day, you would be in the fucking middle of the pitch playing a song. It's like
Imagine.
these people listening to it for like months.
Just a Wembley Stadium just has
Yeah,
people
yeah, you
listening to
people are,
lo-fi.
yeah, like you people are out of your fucking mind, let
Yeah.
alone like a million or like, don't go too far, like 100,000 or 200,000. But it's just like, I find it very disappointing that this stupid number game, instead of like having people, check themselves or do this sort of like reality check, it's like they, you're talking about like a few thousand people, a few thousand listeners, as if it's nothing. Like, yeah, like I have like 450K. This guy has like 500K, and this other guy has like 500,000 too. And you're like, dude, like, enjoy the fucking day and age that we live in,
Yeah.
but be realistic about it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like maybe now I'm gonna sound a little bit like a super old man that doesn't get along with the times, and maybe
Hmm.
because like between my generation and my parents' generation, there's been like some advancements, but in my generation and the future generation and my kid, for example, like the developments that happened
Hmm.
was like 100 times fold faster. Like whether it's like to the tools, the technology, like fuck, we sent motherfucking Elon sends fucking rockets around the Earth, and then the same rockets that just land on their ass.
Yeah.
And this is like technology that was developed in the last 10 years. And what was something that I seen like I seen like online like a meme like if you think about it, it took us billions of years to figure out how to send a rocket to the moon. And now within 10 years, we can make the same rocket come back and land on his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So you're like, what the fuck?
yeah. It's mad. I think we're kind of gone off, but
I, I
we're
think
we're
I
we're
think we can
50%
go ahead.
bitter and 50% like happy for you
Critical.
guys. But just be.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's just being realistic of where those numbers have come from. The achievement
yeah.
itself, fucking yeah. So insane, so good, so proud of you. Whatever, but you know, just be realistic in where you don't be thanking your fans when it's all from a lo-fi
Yeah.
girl playlist. Like,
Because
and that getting a lo-fi girl release itself is a huge achievement, and kind of celebrate that because you sitting there and being like, oh, I want to thank everyone that's listened. No, just
no,
thank that you've made this that impressed this person so much that they were happy to put you on their roster. That itself, is the achievement.
dude, we can also demystify that as well now because releasing with Chilka used to be a pretty special thing
Hmm.
because it would happen within a very small circle of people. Like you had to release, you would get invited to the private Discord server, and then maybe there you would be able to pitch your release, and then it would be not anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Now it's open for everyone.
Mm.
So what used to be important and very special, the same way that the million monthly listeners was special, or the same way that the verified Instagram checkmark was special, now it's not anymore. Now
Yeah.
every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry can pitch their shit and it can be released. So there's nothing special about it now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why that was like my biggest man. I don't think I'm gonna release. I don't want to release with Cowgirl
No.
because of that. Like literally, like I know that being part of the releases of Cowgirl puts you in the same, let's say, bracket with um, with a lot of good guys
Mm-hmm.
like that, proper musicians that release shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, but not exclusive. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll just stick to my guns, It's fine. It's fine. Maybe I'm gonna start working on a project with like 15 tracks and a few collabs that I'm gonna put out like in June.
Mm.
And maybe I'll start hyping people for that from now, from tomorrow or something. It would
Yeah.
feel more special than just going out to the guy who can, guarantee me the streams and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think this goes back to what we were saying before though about how
Yeah.
even Lo-Fi Girl, Cowgirl are trying to once again join everyone else in releasing as much as possible to saturate the market to keep those monthly numbers up.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
going
Exactly.
back to what someone said in the comments, Spotify itself doesn't necessarily pay as much anymore. Or not anymore. This is kind of the issue that has been going on for a long time in that how Spotify divvy up their royalties.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Who,
and I can't remember
Pixel said
the
that.
I can't remember
Yeah.
the specific wording that it is, but it's essentially a pool that
Yeah.
your £10, $10 a month that you put into your Spotify subscription goes into a pot, and
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
gets
I think I know what you're
it
referring to. Yeah, yeah.
and it gets given out to the highest earners. And this is something that was quite a big deal with what um, Sleep Fruits or whatever the fuck they're called now are doing, where they're releasing hundreds of tracks at 30 seconds
Oh,
on
yeah,
those,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. That
they've
shit.
become more popular than like Rihanna or Madonna. It was some insanely popular artist. No, Lady Gaga, that's the one. They've become
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
popular than Lady Gaga, and thus they're taking a higher percentage of that, annual Spotify royalty part.
Mm.
And I think we've now got the British government coming along, being like, no, don't do that.
It had to be the fucking British. It's like
Yeah,
maybe
obviously.
that's like if we do this for you guys, would you consider getting us back to the EU?
No, that's not going to happen.
Sadly, I'm
But
pretty sure that a lot of you guys want this to happen, though. So, but anyway, that's
yes,
another
we
topic. We're
do.
not getting
But
political with our
yeah,
shit, not just
but
yet.
yeah, the
Let's just
question
try to get
is
canceled with music first, and then we'll go to
exactly.
politics.
Yeah, but yeah, the problem stems down to this, you know, divvying out the kitty at the end of the month to
Yeah,
the highest listeners than what your music actually goes to. Because I
yeah.
do find it really disappointing that I don't listen to Drake, I don't listen to Lady Gaga, but they're getting my money. Um,
Or a fraction of your subscription, basically.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, yeah.
And I would love for them to take on what SoundCloud have done, where what you listen to, you get your money goes to them. Do I think it's
Eh,
going to happen?
no,
Definitely not.
no.
Universal's not
As
going to
long
allow that.
as yeah,
Warner's not going to allow that. Sony's not going to allow that. They're not going to sit there and be
yeah,
like, "Oh, you want
no,
to give us less money, so smaller
yeah,
artists get the money that."
yeah,
No,
no.
that's not going to happen.
Which is a little bit hypocritical because they already own SoundCloud. So the financial structure that you appreciate is
Yeah,
now going to be followed on the other one. The difference is that they don't own the majority of the stocks when it comes to Spotify, though. So
yeah.
with
We're
SoundCloud, the story was more simple. Like we sue you to death, you borderline go bankrupt. Oh, we can buy you. Oh,
yeah, yeah. I think SoundCloud's
yeah,
got its niche though. But yeah, on what GCS is asking, we're talking about royalties. There was
yeah,
an article
exactly.
recently where the British government are kind of getting a bit
Yeah,
grumpy at
yeah.
old Spotify for doing their payment system, the way that they pay out
Yeah.
royalties.
We
And we're kind
definitely
of
don't
just
need to. There's definitely something we should point out though, because I think there's always been this the way these things are presented are it's like a blanket title, or like there's like blanket statements in that. They're not. Of course, they're very they're very accurately addressed within the article itself.
Yeah.
And then I'll post it after. I'll put it on my stories as a story after we do the live, after we finish the live.
Hmm.
There's this like misconception, or like you see every now and then, it's like the same story that resurfaces, which is like, oh, artists are getting paid, blah blah blah. Let's do a petition. I mean, I've seen like petitions, people demanding to be paid 1 cent per stream, which I
Yeah.
find fucking ridiculous. And this falls back into the whole, be realistic about your fucking world, or within your fucking bubble that you live. If you want global economy to completely go to trash, and we can live off the fucking land again and start trading chickens for nuts, yeah, let's pay 1 cent per string to everybody. Why not? But usually, and I've seen this like firsthand, and I'm pretty sure I'm entitled to talk about that. Is like, when it comes to major labels, they have historically they historically have paid artists that they sign a lot less than people might think. Most of this like signing bonuses that you see, and mainly we see that from in the hip hop world, where all this hip hop artists would get signed, and they would start flexing this and that, whatever. They would get like a recoupable down payment of XYZ millions. I think the most famous story, and one of the artists that's been very vocal about it is man, what's his name? Shit, the autotune guy. Come on,
Oh, T-Pain.
T-Pain, who revolutionized the use of autotune, right? Like, before him, nobody would do that shit with autotune. Anyway, and he was pretty vocal about it, how he got super fast, super famous, super rich, and then super broke.
Yeah.
So, in a little bit like a breakdown, because I think Pixel might be actually interested in that, is that when you sign a record deal with one of these, one of the majors, most of the time what happens is that there's like a cut off the top of your royalties that goes towards distribution, which means for other areas that these major labels exist, for your music to be promoted on these other areas, everybody needs to get a cut.
Hmm.
I think when it comes to lo-fi, to my case, that cut was relatively low, and I'm pretty sure that in bigger acts like Lady Gaga or Drake or Dua Lipa, or talking about universal artists because that's the stuff that I know now. That cut could be, and I don't think I'm too far from saying this, but it could be like up to like 30-40% of what you make. And then from what's left, the second biggest cut that you get is marketing, which usually falls upon the local branch of the major label that signed you, whether that's Universal Music, USA or Canada, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then from what's left, that marketing cut could be even up to 20%. So you're already like 60% off. Like, from, if you 100 monies, you end up having 40 monies. And out of these 40 monies, you need to get paid as the artist. Then all your producers, because in that high level you have producers, you have musicians, session musicians, managers, promoters, and the actual label. Because don't get it twisted, none of these fucking major labels are gonna use their earnings to pay for marketing. You're paying for that as the artist. So from the 100 monies that you might generate it on Spotify, you might end up with what a lot of people see posting, like 10, 12, 18, shit like that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, when it comes to our stuff, like the indie shit, me playing in both courts, that's great. This is great. I'm actually crying inside, but yeah, that's another story. there's no such case like that. You know, you sign up with a label, let's say, and other than the cut that the distributor might get, which is, you know, 9, 10, 15, 20%. Well, if you're with a distributor that takes 20%, then you probably signed with a major label and you don't know it yet. It's shit, fuck. It's like, you know, whatever you pocket, you pocket. I mean, of course, you and me are not going to reach the Drake level of exposure, but then again, keep in mind that I keep remembering this. I think it was like last year, where Drake was awarded this sort of like plaque from Spotify for some billion streams or something, one of his tracks, and then when I saw the video that he did, like I think he did something for Instagram or whatever. If you really look into his face, he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, sure, I got this plate, whatnot. Like, some people said that, you know, it comes across as a little bit ignorant, like you should be more thankful, whatever. But I think deep down inside, Drake was thinking like, out of that fucking billion,
or maybe earn like 30% of it.
Yeah, earned like, you know, I'm not saying $1,000, probably a lot more, but he could have been. I mean, it's easy to do. Like, I'm just gonna, just for shits and giggles, right? I'm just gonna fire up my calculator. So, let's say you have a billion. A billion is like 9 zeros, right? Yeah, 9 zeros.
Yeah.
You have a billion streams. Knowing that major labels have premium streams, meaning that almost double than what you average get, I would say, I would make a very generous assumption here and say times 0.00420 per stream on Spotify. Usually for us
0.000
mortals, this is like 0.0. It's 0.002 something, 26, 25, whatever. I mean, me playing on both sides now, know that shit. So that, you know, a billion streams with this very generous cut is generating, I mean, my calculator says like $4.2 million.
Yeah.
From 1 billion streams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Drake, out of all this, whatever, maybe he pockets, you know, 10, I would say 15%. So if I divide this, because I'm an idiot, with 100, and then multiply it by, what did I say, 18? Yeah, 18.
You said 15.
15, okay, whatever. Let's say 18, because it's Drake, you know?
Fine.
So this is like 756,000. So that billion generated $4 million, and then this guy, Drake, or Drake X, whatever, allegedly, whatnot, you know, for legal purposes.
Yeah.
He pockets 750.
Yeah.
Now, to you and me, or to everybody else in the chat, you know, that's a fuck ton of money, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money.
Wouldn't joke about
that. However, how shit is that?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a guy on TikTok that kind of highlights the music biz, and there was one that he did recently. It was about touring, and it was like, you know, there's this gig that we've booked for you. It'll pay $5,000, and he was like, okay, great. And they were like, do you want to do it? And he was like, well, yeah, $5,000. That's great. You know, let's go. And like, well, you're gonna have to pay for your own flights and, you know, food, hotel. So that's about $1,000. And then the guy was like, okay, 4,000. That's fine. Yeah, happy to do that. Yeah. Okay, well, you're gonna have to pay your manager, and you're gonna have to pay your, you know, the tour booking agent. Yeah. So, you know, that's probably another 1,500. And they're like, okay, so that leaves me with, you know, 2,500. Let's go. Right. Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to need to pay to get, like, the merch over there and X, Y, you know, this, that, and the other. Hold on, someone's at the door. I'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to try to hold the fort a little bit until he comes back, Aaron comes back. But yeah, that's the case, guys. Like, and imagine from that 750 that Drake gets to pocket at the end, which this is like before tax. He has to pay taxes on that. And maybe, I don't know what the tax situation is in the US, but here, at least in Austria, it's like depending on your bracket. And if you're in the higher bracket, you definitely pay like 50%. I'm giving a little bit of an explanation of what happens with Drake's money. What's up, Drake?
Yeah.
Hit me up for productions. Then, he might end up, if he pays half of it to taxing or whatever, he might end up with like 300K. So $4 million generated, and then at the end of the day, you got 350 in the bank account. And you're like, what the fuck? I mean, apart from the fact that you need to pay tax, because we all know death and taxes is what's getting you in the end.
Yeah. I guess as
Anyway,
well,
sorry,
though, if we go back to what Pixel was saying about, are we earning anything on streaming services? No. Are we earning a living? No. I mean, we're both artists. We both run labels. I can't speak for Paul because his situation's very differently, but am I in a position where my own music and the label is earning me a living? Not at all. I work in PR and marketing on the side, as a day job. That's just what, I know Paul works his a day job as well. We're still very much on the 9 to 5 in a sense, and we'd love to be able to earn a living off of all of this, and that's the goal at the end of the day. As much as we sit here and kind of, moan at those people that are hitting those millions of monthly listeners, would we like to be in that position and getting that much money? Yeah, but as Paul was highlighted, even if we're as an independent artist, getting 1 million streams is really only going to earn you what
that
about
much.
$1,000 if that.
Yeah.
But
it's like
$1,000 a month. Cool. That's what you got to keep up with that. But realistically, you need about $2,500 to $3,000, $4,000 to actually live. And this industry, I don't think is built for being able to make a living off. That I'm just gonna be straight real with that. Like the lo-fi hip hop industry, the way that it's going at the minute, there's really no. Unless you're truly happy to just sit there and cater to specific playlists and specific labels, which, like I've mentioned that some people are clearly doing, then you're not going to be passionately living off this particular genre. Other genres, absolutely. If you can make a living, like make great music as a singer-songwriter, you're going to shoot fucking high. You're going to make megabucks. Instrumental music, not so much. That's kind of
not anymore at least. Not anymore at least. Maybe 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. The ship has very much sailed for that. It's very. Things have gone very differently over the past couple of years. Whether you want to call it gentrification or not, that's a topic that we've already discussed today.
Yeah.
But no, there. If you can really put yourself out there as something different and unique, then yes, you could probably comfortably earn a living. But it's with how fickle music streaming can be from month to month to month. I don't think right now it's a viable. Let's just sack everything and make music. As much as I would absolutely love that was a dream growing up. That being in bands and being in different areas. I would have absolutely have loved to have been in a successful band that was in music mags. You could see yourself in Kerrang, Rock Sound, Metal Hammer, things like that. Instrumental music, maybe not so much.
No, that was definitely the dream. That was like for me as well, like mainly from the DJing point of view. Like I always like thought that I could be like such a cool, amazing DJ. And I would love to play music for all these crowds and stuff like that. And I had my share as a youngster, playing gigs. And I think that the most that I performed was like to 1,000 people or some shit, which was great. But then you're like, I don't know. I was like, I think that there has to be some sort of like a plan B. That it became a plan A, which is like, get your fucking degree, make sure, like, whether we like it or not, we live in a world that a piece of fucking paper that is not worth more than a toilet paper defines who you are. So whether we like it or not, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Nothing against people who want to, go out there and follow their dreams and be entrepreneurs. And I have a bunch of friends like that, and I admire them for saying fuck you to society and the norms and just try to do their shit. This is something that I personally cannot do. I'm a bitch. I'm a very basic bitch, and I always wanted to have like this nice, steady 9 to 5 thing, and doing my gig on the side, and it works well. And because you and me are privileged to spend most of our time in front of a computer screen, we have the luxury to be able to put many different hats on, depending on the time of day or your lunch break or whatever. So it's really great. But because I think I saw this question in the chat, I think it was again from Pixel, probably that what would you say to somebody who comes into the, genre now? And we talked about it a little bit briefly in the beginning. It's like, I would say that you have to be fucking crazy to jump into this now. However, the way that I say this is that it would take a special kind of crazy to go into this. The most important thing is, like, I would encourage people to actually do that, in the sense of our genre being so saturated and gentrificated and blah, 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 and all the shit that we said before. The biggest enemy, which is one of the biggest characteristics of this, is all this sort of like everything that we've been talking about now. Numbers, monthly listeners, whatever.
Yeah.
But the common denominator of all these things is time. And because people, and what I've seen in this 4 or 5 years I've been doing this, is that after a certain period of time, people get so frustrated and disappointed that they eventually drop out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to stay ahead of competition and fucking smash your competition, just keep doing that shit. When everybody else keeps fucking quitting, just keep doing your shit. I think, and this applies with everything else in life,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to succeed, I mean, there's a very thin line between calling it quits and knowing when to quit,
Yeah.
But when it comes to music, and when you can, when hopefully you don't live off of it. So it's not, if it's a business, and if it's like you live off of it, then I do understand what comes, the pros and cons that might come with that. For me, because this is not my main source of income, and for you as well, like, whatever, sure, okay. That's what, like, I would encourage people, like, first of all, I would encourage people to don't quit school, stay in school. Get a fucking piece of paper that says you can do fucking something in your fucking life.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get a paper, like, what is it? I think, what's his name? Potato, whatever. He's a really cool bloke from Ireland. The guy, like, he's like, how should I say? Like, he lays, I'm joking now, but I want to say that he's laying pipe. But part of what he does, he's like, I wouldn't say a builder. What would you call, like, construction worker?
Yeah.
Like, he does shit like that. Like, I think from streets to fucking houses. If he listens to this, if he watches this, I don't know. Like, don't shoot me. Whatever. But I see him messing with concrete a lot, laying pipe. So that's great. But you need to have something like that, something stable, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. But it's like, also, again, be realistic about it, because of all the shit that we said. Stay focused on what you do, and if you want to go ahead of everybody else, you just need to keep doing it. And try to, and this has been very helpful for me, especially in the past couple of years, because all of us were fixated with numbers at some point in time. Some people more than others and less. Just try to just see it. It's just a number. It's like, whatever. It's just a number. It doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that your music is shit or nobody listens to me or blah blah. Like, a good example, we have somebody in the chat like Jiv Dipshit. This motherfucker is a genius when it comes to music. Like, he's the guy who's like fucking chunking out tracks like he's taking dumps, like, literally. I know a lot of stuff about his, personal situation and shit, which I don't want to bring up here. It's not this is not the forum for this.
No.
Uh, and I have like a tremendous amount of respect for him. So, seeing this guy just keep doing whatever he wants to do and having fun and doing this and doing that. And after all this fuckery that we've been through this past year, Universal and whatnot, him getting like featured on an editorial playlist, I find this like very rewarding for him. And he's a guy who
Yeah.
never really cared about it. Oh, I got this, like, blah, blah, blah. Fuck it. But I know that he's going to keep doing it while everybody else is going to quit and say, oh, fuck it. I didn't hit a million, like, monthly listeners, like, I'm not going to I don't like this anymore. Or I'm going to try to release with Chilled Cow because blah, blah, blah. Or what you said earlier. Oh, dude, you want to collab?
Yeah.
Like, I think Michael showed that, Lamar shared that story a couple of times, like after, like, I don't know, like, what was it, like a few weeks ago, she got a release from on Chill Beats.
Yeah.
Oh shit, is my phone? Oh, okay, I thought my phone's gonna go off. Sorry, it's like 5% battery. I was a dick. I didn't charge it. Anyway, he got a release with Chill Beats, and then he started getting like DMs like, "Hey, bro, you want to collab?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, can we pitch it to Chill Beats?" And I'm like, "Come on."
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of like, well, I think going on what Pixel's saying is like lo-fi house, any genre outside of lo-fi hip hop, go to town. I think house music and that kind of EDM has far more of an audience than lo-fi hip hop, because of how lo-fi hip hop has evolved over the past couple of years. I mean, the pandemic did nothing to help that.
No.
Going back to that topic, we as a label are looking at other,
I think I'm
other
gonna
genres
poach
to
Pixel
release
Pixel
with as
now.
well.
I'm gonna
What?
poach him.
Okay,
I want
do it.
lo-fi house. I want release stuff.
But
Pixel, hit me up, bro.
that's exactly it. That is exactly it. Like, our next track that's releasing on next Friday, it's like a bedroom pop track. It's like a synth pop bedroom pop track. It's
Exactly.
hella catchy. It's, at first when you're listening to it, there's you're like, okay, what is this? And it gets into it, and you're like, this is a fucking bop. Like and I'm really passionate about the stuff that we release. I think it's a bop. Some people might not, whatever, but I think it's a fucking bop. It's still in my head now. It's so insanely catchy, and outside of that, we've previously released kind of like an old R&B type track or like a sad pop type track, something that I would call more substantial than just a lo-fi hip hop instrumental is the way forward. If you can work with vocalists, if you can work with other artists that help you bridge that gap to other genres that would probably still be considered lo-fi, whether that's, like lo-fi bedroom pop, lo-fi indie. We had a submission that was like a lo-fi indie EP, which I would have absolutely loved to have jumped on, but that enters a kind of area where we escape this kind of DIY stuff and start looking more towards or more being sort of like a band orientated label, which for the moment, me personally, I'm not in a position where I'd want to go for that, because we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin. We want to be, within that, I guess, kind of lo-fi bubble. I'd love
Sorry
to
to
release
interrupt,
more like,
but it's also a matter of you being able to support it as a label as well.
yes, exactly.
If there's no outlet for you, your audience doesn't know that stuff, then great track. I would love to get it, but you're not going to be able to give back. Sorry, I just wanted to
exactly. No, as much as I dig like, that sort of like DIY emo type stuff, I would love to release that kind of stuff, but we don't have those connections. We don't have anyone.
Exactly.
We can put it out there and we can sing its praises, but whether anyone would listen, again, that's
not yet. At least we don't.
Exactly.
Not yet, at least.
But this is why we're happy to kind of, and a lot of the artists that we've worked with that have worked with those genres outside of lo-fi hip hop have been very understanding that they're taking a risk with what they're trying to do, and that we're happy to help them with that and almost minimize that risk. And two heads are better than one kind of thing. This is what we're working towards. This is how we're doing this. This is what we're learning as we're doing it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, my advice to any artist that is unsure about whether to get into lo-fi hip hop, look at genres outside of it that kind of bridge that gap, whether it's, you know, working with vocalists or rappers and stuff.